Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hippo 2024 workshop for Hippo 3, 4, 5, S2, S3, S4, and S5. If you are not in that group, you need to go find your video for your class. If you are in that group, welcome. We're going to watch a couple of videos to start with, and then we will get into the lesson.
Hi, welcome to Hippo 2024, the 12th Hippo International English Language Olympiad. Hippo is a yearly global English competition, with participants from over 60 countries. Hippo evaluates students' English proficiency in 4 core skills: reading, writing, listening and speaking. Hippo aligned to the CEFR and suitable for Malaysia students. Hippo is approved by Ministry of Education since 2020. In Hippo 2023, 12,000 Malaysian students joined the competition. 1,400 of them made it to the semi-final. 28 of them represented Malaysia in the World Final round in Italy. We won 1 first prize, 1 second prize and another 1 third prize. Additionally, 4 achieved 4th place and another 4 received 5th place. Congratulations to all the winners of Hippo 2023. Hippo is open to students aged 6 to 19 from national and international schools. Hippo 2024 comprises 4 rounds. The first 2 rounds include the preliminary and national final rounds. Participants ranking in the top 10% in the preliminary round will progress to the national final round. The preliminary round is scheduled for April 26th to 28th, and the national final will be held on May 25th or 26th. Each test will last approximately 1 hour on a date to be announced later. Winners selected from the national final round will advance directly to the world final round in Italy, set to take place in Assisi, Italy, in September 2024. Other high-scoring participants will receive invitations to join the regional round, where the first-place winner will secure a spot in the world final round in Italy. The regional round is slated for July 2024 in Kuala Lumpur. In the preliminary round, students have the option to participate online from home or school during the weekend, facilitated by the Hippo team through Zoom. For online participation, a reliable internet connection and a laptop are necessary. Alternatively, if your school conducts the exam on physical paper, you can opt for the paper mode instead of the online method. For the national final round, the competition format could be online from home or school during the weekend, or on physical paper, with the mode to be confirmed later. However, for the regional qualifier round and the world final round, both will be held using physical paper. Please note that various English core skills will be assessed across different rounds. Which Hippo category should you choose? If you attend a national or private school following the national syllabus, you can select the regular category. Determine your category based on your school year or grade as of January 1st, 2024. For instance, if you are in Primary 6 on January 1st, 2024, you will be in the Hippo 2 category. If you attend an international or English medium school, you have to choose the special category. Determine your category based on your school year as of January 1st, 2024. If you fall under the regular category but wish to tackle a more challenging difficulty level, you can also participate in the special category. We'd like to explain the difference between the regular and special categories if you wish to switch. However, please note that you cannot switch from the special category to the regular category. Here is a list that includes the number of questions in each paper and their respective mark for preliminary round. Please note that for Baby and Little Hippo, both regular and special categories are grouped together. Some levels in the special category share the same paper as the regular category but are assessed separately. For example, Hippo S1 shares the same content paper with Hippo 2. Similarly, this applies to S2, S3, and S4. We have thoroughly explained the rules and regulations. For participation in the upcoming Hippo 2024, the registration fee is 60 Malaysian ringgit per student. Please be aware that the registration deadline is April 1, 2024. Registration can be completed online or through your school. With each successful registration, you will receive a complimentary Hippo online workshop and access to the website for past year papers. Upon registration confirmation, you will receive a WhatsApp message from us containing the registration link for workshop and past year papers. Here are the prizes for participants at different competition rounds. The finalists and their teacher will receive complimentary accommodation for 3 nights, including breakfast and dinner, when they attend the World Final Round in Italy. To register, please visit the website and complete your registration online. You can register through your English teacher too. If you need further information, feel free to contact the number displayed on the screen. We're excited to welcome you to Hippo 2024.
Created using Pout.
Okay, and now we have a video about the children, the 28 children that qualified to go to Rome for the final in 2023.
Taking Malaysia's spirit with me to Rome.
Forza, Squadra Malaysia, Malaysia Volley.
I'm excited to be a part of the Malaysian team to join the Hippo World Finals in Rome.
What's important is we try our very best. Good luck, everyone.
I bet I'll learn a lot of new things there. I hope I can win this competition.
For the Little Hippo competition, I will do my best to make Malaysia proud.
I will try my very best.
Winning is not a sometime thing. It's an all-time thing.
Good luck to all the Malaysian finalists. Bye.
I will do my best to win the competition and make Malaysia proud. Arrivederci!
Talia Arrivo. See you there.
Salve, io sono Lia. See you in Roma.
Hi Hippo! Budak Malaysia coming to Italy.
My name is Chloe and I'm going to Italy.
Hi, see you in Rome.
Hello, I'm waiting for Malaysia and I can't wait to see you in Rome.
Hi Italy! Here I come!
Hi, this is Mingjian, and here I come, Italy.
Are you ready? I'm ready. Italy, here I come.
So those are the students that qualified for the final in September of last year. Now, the final this year, that was last year, was held in Rome. This year is being held in a city called Assisi. Now, from what I've seen, it looks to be very pretty. It should be an amazing experience if you get to go. So all the best, good luck to everybody. Let's get started. Okay, we have some games. Now, you have 4 groups, group 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you have words over here. You got 12. Or sorry, 16. I can't count. 16 words. Okay? Each word belongs in a set with 3 other words. It is up to you to figure out what groups go together. Okay? So you need to understand the meanings of the words. So if there's any words in here you don't know, look them up. You're never going to learn if you don't look them up. So I will do group 1 right now to show you how this works. And then I want you to pause the video and do groups 2, 3, and 4, and then come back and I will go over them. Okay, we will start with magician. educator, comedian, and actor. Okay, so all of these 4 words are all jobs. All right, they're all jobs that people can do. Now, I want you to pause the video and I want you to figure out what are groups 2, 3, and 4. Now, there is no, it doesn't, your group 2 could be my group 4. It doesn't matter. Okay, what number your group is doesn't matter. What order you write the words in doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that these 4 words are all together. Okay? Now, pause the video and then come back when you have your answers and I will show you what the answers are. Okay. Now, if you have already answered the questions, here we go. Often it is easier if you mark the ones that you have already used. I find it much easier. Okay? Then you don't forget which ones have already been used. Otherwise, it can get a little confusing. All right, let's start with elegant. Neat, intelligent, and knowledgeable. Knowledgeable. Okay. So there are our next set of words. Change the color so I know that they go together. Positive traits that people can have. Okay. Mime. Parrot. Mirror. And doppelganger. Doppelganger. Okay. Those are all copies. They are all words about copies. Okay, so I will mark those off. Okay, and now our last set. Swap. Transpose. Exchange. And modify. Okay. These are all about switching things. So there's your 4 groups. So if you had, as long as you had these groups in the same same groups, you had each group in the same section, you are all correct. If you didn't, maybe take a look at your answers and see if you can figure out where you made the mistake. All right, let's try again. Try another one. Okay, this one I'm not going to give you anything Let's see if you guys can figure out all 4 groups. Okay? Then come back and I will give you the answers. Okay, and here are your answers. Furnished, spacious, lavish, and luxurious are all words used to describe a space. So a home, a building, a space. Hurricane, blustery, breeze, and windy are all words used to describe winds, not weather, wind. Thoughtful, cheerful, generous, and ambitious, positive characteristics. Annoyed, fed up, agitated, and furious. Things that you are when you are mad. All right. Did you find all the groups? I hope so. All right. Let's read the story. I will read it out loud. And then we will do the questions, so you all read along with me. In a small town, there was an annual tradition called the Starry Night Concert. Sarah, a music enthusiast, eagerly awaited this magical evening every year. The concert took place in a park surrounded by tall trees and twinkling fairy lights. As the sun set, the musicians began to play under the starlit sky. The sound of violins, pianos, and flutes filled the air, creating a symphony of enchantment. Sarah sat on a blanket, captivated by the melodies. During a break, Sarah noticed a girl sitting alone on a bench. She approached and introduced herself to Mia. Mia explained that she loved music, but was too shy to attend the concert alone. Sarah smiled and invited Mia to join her. From that moment, they enjoyed the concert together, sharing stories and laughter under the starry sky. As the last notes echoed, Sarah and Mia realized the magic extended beyond the music. They exchanged contact information, promising to attend next year's concert together. Okay. It's a set of questions. Read through them. Let's go over the answers. What was the annual tradition called? What was the tradition? It was a music festival. Where did it take place? In the park. What surrounded the park during the concert? Trees and fairy lights. What instruments could be heard during the concert? Violins, pianos, and flutes. Where did Sarah sit during the concert? On a blanket. What captivated Sarah during the concert? The melodies. Who did Sarah notice during the break? A girl on a bench. What did Sarah and Mia share during the concert? Stories and laughter. Okay, there are your answers. Did you get them all? I hope so. All right. Okay, this one is about synonyms. Now, there are a lot of words that I'm not going to give you that are synonyms for these words. Okay? Absolutely, there are probably a dozen or more for each. All right? I'm going to give you 1 or 2. I'm not going to give you much more than that because, frankly, if I give you much more than that, there's no point. Okay? I can spend the entire class just giving you synonyms and antonyms for these words. I'm not going to do that. If you want more words or you think that a word that you want to use would fit, fantastic. And you absolutely should check and see. If you're not 100% sure if it actually fits, talk to your teachers or your parents or somebody that you know who speaks very good English, who might know whether or not it works. Okay? All right. So for all of you who are going to give me more than the 2 that I'm going to give you, that's my disclaimer up front. All right? Eagerly. These are synonyms, so similar meanings. Enthusiastically. Although I would not use enthusiastically in the sentence because it mentions a music enthusiast, and to use the word or a word that related to enthusiast twice back to back like that is never a good idea. Excitedly, yes. With enthusiasm, maybe. But you get the idea. Surrounded, enclosed. Or any of the other versions around words that are related to that. Filled. I think to me the best word for filled would be saturated. Enchantment, magic. There are 100 words, but magic is the one that I'll go with. Captivated. Fascinated. Interested. With wonder. Approached. Went up to. Spoke to. Noticed. Maybe. Look, went up to is probably your best answer for approached. Echoed. Okay, now, this is one that everyone seems to be getting wrong lately. When you think of an echo, what is the sound doing? Is it getting louder or is it getting softer? The answer is it's getting softer. An echo starts from a loud sound that bounces, and as it bounces, it fades. And so echoed would be fades. So it's softer. Extended. Went beyond. Stretched. Beyond. Exchanged. Swapped. Shared. Promising. Vowed. Agreed. Depending on how strong you want to make it. Stronger would be vowed, weaker would be agreed. All right. Opposites. An opposite of eagerly would be bored. Unenthusiastic. Uninterested. Or bored. Surrounded would be empty. Open. Filled would be empty. There really isn't a better one than empty. Enchantment. Okay, this one's a little bit tricky. An opposite for enchantment would be if enchantment is magic. So logic An opposite of magic would be logic. I've had people give me that answer and they're not wrong. There's a lot of possible answers for that one. Captivated. Uninterested. Bored. Fed up. Approached. Ignored. Went away from. Stayed away from. Avoided. Echoed. Remember what I said about echoed just now? It gets softer. So the opposite would be louder. So increased. Resonated. Things that get louder. Extended. Shrunk. Exchanged. Held. Refused. Promising. Lie. The opposite of a promise is a lie, right? All right. Identify the grammatical mistakes. Okay, this is another one you're going to have to pause the video. Okay, so you've got the video, you've got the passage here. I want you to pause it. Find all the mistakes. There are 10. And then come back and I will show you the answers. Okay. Answers. There you go. All of those are the mistakes. Brought instead of bring. Spent instead of spend. Nervously instead of nervous. Consisted instead of consist. Captured instead of capturing. Showcasing instead of showcase. Admired instead of admiring. Decided instead of decide. Inspired instead of inspiring. And embraced instead of embrace with a D on the end of it. Okay. Let's try one more. Again, pause the video, come back and check your answers. Okay, and here are your answers. Named instead of name. Tucked instead of tucking. Approached instead of approaching. Expressed instead of express. Creatures with an S instead of creature without an S. You can change nights into weeks or months. It depends on your personal preference, but it is not nights. Can be weeks or months. There are two choices for that one. Forgotten instead of forgetting. Became instead of becoming. Lingered, lingers instead of linger. Okay? All right, figurative language. So, as you can see, there are many fonts on this page. Now, they can be kind of hard to read when you have a lot of fonts and you're trying to tell a story using different fonts can be hard for the reader. Right? If you look at the page that is in front of you, it's difficult to read. Right? We're used to reading a single font on a page, maybe 2 or 3, but nothing like this. Okay? So, figurative language is like adding spice to your writing and speaking. It makes things more interesting and helps paint vivid pictures in the reader or listener's mind. Instead of saying something in a plain, straightforward way, figurative language uses creative expressions like metaphors, similes, and idioms to bring words to life. Imagine a world without it. It would be a bit dull, right? Figurative language makes stories, poems, and everyday conversations more engaging, helping us express ideas in cool and colorful ways. It's like turning words into a vibrant work of art. Okay? So we're going to watch a video about figurative language, and then we're going to have some questions and look at some examples. All right? So let's go to the video first.
Hi everyone, Mrs. Roberts here. Today we're going to look at figurative language. Have you ever read a story or poem and thought, wow, that was really interesting and I feel like I'm right in the story? If you have, then you've probably read examples of figurative language. Figurative language is a creative way to use words or phrases to make interesting comparisons, explain something that is abstract, or add dramatic effect. Writers often use figurative language in stories, poems, and even songs. It makes a text more engaging and relatable as it draws on the reader's emotions and helps them think about a topic in a new way. While there are many types of figurative language, in this video we're going to focus on similes, metaphors, personification, idioms, and hyperbole. A simile is a type of figurative language used to directly compare two things. It is easy to recognize in text as they often use the words like or as to suggest that the objects or ideas are alike. For example, a commonly used simile is, "You're like 2 peas in a pod." We can see here the word like is used to make the comparison. Does this mean you and your friend are actually peas in a pod? No, that's just a way of comparing you and your friend by saying you're very similar to each other, in the same way that peas are in a pod. You might have also heard this simile, "She's as sweet as sugar." What does this mean? Does the girl actually taste sweet? No. This simile helps the reader understand the girl's sweet personality and how kind she is. A metaphor is a word or phrase that is used to make a direct comparison between two things. It is a form of figurative language that describes something by stating that one thing is actually another. This is usually achieved by highlighting a shared quality between the two things being compared. Linking words such as like or as are not used in metaphors. For example, you may have heard someone say, "He is a ray of sunshine." This metaphor creates an image of a person who is happy and bright, like rays of sunshine. Some other common metaphors include, "Time is money," and "Life's a roller coaster." Personification is achieved when human characteristics, such as actions or feelings, are given to non-human things like objects or animals. It is used to make these objects more relatable and is commonly used in poetry. For example, "The flowers danced in the wind" uses personification to give the flowers the human quality of being able to dance. This creates an image in the reader's mind of flowers moving about gently in the blowing breeze, as though they are dancing. Sometimes we even use personification in our daily speech when we say things like, "That last piece of cake is calling my name." The cake isn't really calling out someone's name, but this personification of the cake emphasizes that the last piece of cake is very tempting. Have you ever heard someone say, "It's raining cats and dogs"? This is an example of an idiom. Idioms are words, phrases, or expressions that cannot be taken literally. They don't actually mean what the words say. Idioms are more commonly used in everyday sayings than they are in formal pieces of writing. Do you know what these common idioms really mean? The cat is out of the bag. This just means a secret has been let out. Or what about this one? "You're pulling my leg." This just means someone is joking with you. And our final figurative language type for this video is hyperbole. It uses exaggeration for emphasis and to intensify an image in the reader's mind. It is often used with humour, and it isn't meant to be taken literally. Hyperbole is another figurative language device used in our daily speech. Some examples include, "I'm so hungry I could eat dirt," and "I've asked you 1,000,000 times to clean your room." Well, that brings us to the end of this video on figurative language. Hopefully you can now identify the 5 types we have explored in the things that you read and in what people say.
Okay, now let's see if you actually remember. Okay, there are 10 questions. We're going to start with the first 5. The second 5 will be on the next slide. Answers will be on the third slide. Okay, so if you feel that you want to go back and watch the video again to make sure you understand how each of these are used, feel free. I encourage it. If you think you know how to do this, go ahead. Pause the video. Answer the questions. And make sure you say, okay? He would write, but his hours are as busy as bees in the sun. Okay? Because it uses the words like or as, it is a metaphor. I'm going to give you the first one. It is a metaphor. Now, once you understand what these things are and which technique is being used, write down the technique on your paper. Okay? Once you're done, come back. So pause the video. Once you've got number 1 through 5 done, come back. I will go to 6 through 10. Pause it again. Then I will go to the answers. Okay, so pause now, do 1 through 5. Okay. 6 through 10. Okay. And here are your answers. I'm sorry. Number 1 is not a metaphor. It is a simile. I always get those two confused because it uses as. Similes use the as, metaphors do not. I do not know why I always make that mistake, but I always do. My mistake. All right. So for those of you that caught me, well done. All right. So number 1 is a simile. Number 2 is a metaphor. The words are compared to jars without using the words like or as. Number 3 is personification. The knight is given the ability to stare, crawl, and hide like a person. Hyperbole. The speaker is exaggerating how long he or she could live and how painful his or her experience is. Okay? You're not going to live to be a million. You're just not. Everybody knows you're not. But it's the point of it. Okay? Simile. Do is compared to a drop of ink using the word like. Personification, number 6. The speaker's heart is given the ability to dance. Personification is often used when talking about hearts because you say it breaks, it cries, your heart apparently does a lot of physical human things that it's actually not able to do. All right, number 7. Personification. The daisies were given mouths and the ability to wonder and gaze. Open-mouthed, wondering, they gazed at the sun. Number 8, hyperbole. The number of lit torches is greatly exaggerated. Countless? Of course you can count them. There might be a lot, but they're countable. You may not be able to count with a glance, which is when a lot of people will use the term countless, because most people can't count past about 10 at just looking at something without actually physically counting it. Majority of people can't do it, myself included. All right, number 9. Metaphor. The speaker's brain is compared to fire and his heart to lead. Also, the subject's soul is compared to flint. So, that's definitely a metaphor. A very strong one. And number 10 is a simile. The spires are compared to swaying masts, using the word like. Sway like masts against a shifting breeze. Okay? I really hope they don't actually sway, because that would be bad. If you've got church spires that are actually moving in the breeze, you've got a bigger problem than you think you do. All right. So here's some other examples of figurative language at work. Read through this passage. If you need more time, go ahead and pause and read. If not, read the second one. As you will notice, they are the same thing. They tell the same information. One of them uses a great deal of figurative language. Basically, as much as I could possibly put in the sentences without it sounding completely weird. The second one, on the other hand, has no figurative language at all. It's all fact-based only. There's no figurative language in this second paragraph at all. Now, this is a really good example of when you can use figurative language to stretch a sentence a little bit further than you thought you could. It can be used in multiple languages, by the way, because figurative language is not only an English thing, it is pretty much a universal thing. Okay, almost every language, actually, I think every language has some form of figurative language in it. Okay, so if you can learn the figurative languages, the figurative language things for other languages, you can use them in those as well. And I bet most of you that speak multiple languages already do some of it. But when you use it in your writing, if your teacher gives you a 500-word paragraph to write, and you end up with 350, and you're like, I need more words because this isn't long enough and I'm going to lose points because it's not long enough. Go into it and see if you can add figurative language that makes sense. Okay, make sure it makes sense. Add a couple of metaphors. Add some hyperbole. Add some personification. You can stretch it a long way. Is an example of this to this. Okay, it can make a very big difference in your writing, aside from the fact that it's just much more interesting to read. All right. Poetry is not the same without figurative language. Read poem number 1, this one over here, and then poem number 2. Which do you enjoy more? Everyone so far has said 1. But they enjoy 1 more than 2. And that's not surprising. Poetry doesn't work as well without the figurative language. Those of you that write poetry for fun, and I'm sure there are probably a few, you will be very good at these. Because poetry requires it. Poetry is nothing without the figurative language that creates it. It just doesn't ring the same way. It doesn't work the same way. All right. Read through the poem Flowers by Perlin. They have no mouth, but seem to speak 1,000 words so mild and meek. They have no eyes, but seem to see and bury thoughts into me. They have no ears, but seem to hear all my cries, my every tear. They have no arms, but seem to pat when with worries my heart is fat. They have no feet, but seem to walk along with me and dreams and talk. And they, I know, are the flowers so nice that spread their fragrance 1,000,000 miles. Grow a few, and then you'll know how your life is fresh and new. With a smile so broad, I thank my God, whose work to imagine is really too hard. Okay? How do you think the person in the poem felt in stanza 2? Okay, when you write poetry, each group is a stanza. So what looks like a paragraph under normal circumstances in a poem is called a stanza. Okay, so stanza 2. I would say sad. I would say she probably is sad. So I'm going to just underline the answers because typing all of this seems excessive. Okay. All my cries, my every tear. When with worries, my heart is fat. So that, to me, that shows sadness. Okay. What did the writer say about the flowers? This is an example also of personification, for those of you keeping track. Most of this poem is, quite frankly, personification. Flowers' fragrance. Change the color. It's not be purple. 1,000,000 miles. Right? Spread of fragrance 1,000,000 miles. Okay, number 3. Did the writer suggest us to plant flowers? Yes. Grow a few. And then you'll know. How does the poem describe the flowers as a character? It's got quite a few of ways that it describes it as a character. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the ones that are obvious. Okay. They have no arms, but seem to pat. They can't pat. Seem to speak. Seem to see. Seem to walk. Right? Talk. So those are all examples of how it's described as a character. What character do you think that these flowers are meant to describe? What do you think? Who do you think would be someone in your life, maybe, that these flowers would be a description of, the way they are described in the story? Think about it. All right. Where do you think the writer was when they wrote the poem? This one I've had a few answers. A garden, a park, a field. Oh, sorry. A field, and a number of places where there is flowers and trees and pretty things. All right. They have no mouth but seem to speak. They have no ears but seem to hear. What are the flowers being compared to? This is the question I asked you in number 4. Who in your life would you compare these flowers to? Is there someone, because even though, basically what they're saying is they're saying that everything, even though it's silent, even though they can't talk to you, they still make you feel better. They give the author peace and happiness when she's sad. Is there someone in your life that does that for you? I've had people tell me, parents, grandparents, friends, brothers or sisters. All of those can be people that you feel that way about. That you can sit in silence with that person and not need to fill it. Just have their silence make you feel better. You can sit in the same room with someone and it just makes you feel better. I'm sure each of you have at least one person that you feel that way about. It's your best friend, your cousin, your brother, your sister, your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, anybody. That's what she's describing. She gets that feeling sitting in a garden. I hope that she's got other people in her life that are people and not just flowers. But flowers are better than nothing. All right. So, how it is used in not necessarily flowery language, but figurative language can be used just in a regular sentence. Let's see how. The car what as the key was roughly turned in its ignition. If you want to take the time to write your answers down, go ahead. I'm going to go just straight through these. Complaint. The car's approaching headlights. Winked. The moon, what at the stars in the sky? Smiled. The moon, what over to face the day? Turned. The city never sleeps. It's a very common expression about cities, that they never sleep. Winter's icy grip, what his rib cage? Squeezed. Doesn't actually squeeze, but very cold weather can make you feel like you can't catch your breath, and that is a very good description of that sound. The wind whispered the rumors of the forest. Okay, so you can see how it's not necessarily always used in flowery poetry or anything else. Sometimes it's used in just regular conversation. Instead of winter's icy grip squeezed his rib cage. It was really cold and it couldn't catch his breath. Says the same thing, but the first one's more interesting to read or to listen to or to say. So, okay, read through this paragraph and figure out what happens next. Okay, so if your answer to what happens next is Sean borrowed the book, you are correct. Good. All right. Read this. What happened next? Now, this is a really good example of using a prompt that you were given for an essay and doing something unusual with it. Now, you can do the easy thing. They had reached Grandma's house. They had arrived at Grandma's house and Grandma was standing outside. That's the easy thing. But that's also really short. Your teacher tells you to write 200 words from this as a prompt. They had reached Grandma's house and Grandma was standing outside. that's not going to give you 200 words. Or at least it's not going to give you 200 interesting words. Now, my other classes, when I asked this question, I got a really wide variety of choices when I said I want the interesting versions, not the boring versions. Because I got the boring versions first, which is I'm sure what all of you thought too. One kid said there was a herd of cows on the road. And Tina loved cows. So Mom woke her up to see the cows because they had stopped. Another said a UFO landed in front of their car. Okay. A third one said the car was on fire. My comment was I don't think they would be quite so nice to wake you up to rise and shine and hey sleepyhead if the car was on fire, but your choice. But there's 101 things that you can do that are not the standard boring answer. Okay? So I hope that you guys think about other ways that you can use prompts like this and the figurative language that we've covered. Combine the two of them and make something interesting. Make an interesting sentence. Make an interesting paragraph. Make a story that your teacher is not going to fall asleep reading. All right. Now, if you enjoyed the lesson and you want to learn more, we have online CEFR classes that are taught by really excellent teachers. And they are 1 hour and 15 minutes long, 20 ringgit per class. They are really, really good. So if you are in a situation where maybe you don't speak very good English, you use English and you do speak it, but you know that your grammar and your sentence structure are not where they should be, and you want to improve them, these classes can be incredibly helpful for them. Because there's no judgment. There's no one telling you that you're going to get a bad grade if you don't understand. Okay? So if those are something that you are interested in, this is the website. I will show you, and I will show you the website of how it all works to sign up. And some other things that we've currently got going on. Now, this is the main Hippo website. Okay? You can see, sorry, this is the main Hippo website. You can see how all of the information is on here. This link was sent to the WhatsApp. So when you registered for the class and you got access to this video, you also got access to this website. Okay? So check this website out and check the regulations before you message them and ask them questions, because the chances are very good that your answers are here. Okay, so double check here before you go asking questions, because they're probably answers are here. All right, other competitions coming up. Your Asian Spelling Bee. It's coming up soon. It is not open yet. It will be. You will get a notification for it. This one is focused more on vocabulary and spelling. So if you are good at those two things, absolutely sign up for this. This one, the final last year, was held in Penang. We had almost 200 students from Malaysia qualify for the final last year for this. It was amazing. Okay. Then we also have, these are the sign-ups for the CEFR Online English. The dates, the times, current schedule, all the information that you need. We also have an online English vocabulary class, which is more connected to the Eurasian Spelling Bee, and this is the time slots for those. If you live in the Puchong, Subang Jaya, Bukit Jalil area, we have a center in Satya Walk in Puchong where we teach creative writing. So if that is something that you might be interested in, our address is here. And you can reach out and get more information about that. Okay? So I wish you all the best for everyone. Good luck. And I hope to see lots of people make the semifinals and maybe more than 23 next year for the finals. Good luck, everybody.